Have you ever wondered if you could express a chord with just two notes? Well, you've stumbled upon the right video, because in today's video I wanted to talk about some kind of more lightweight solutions to playing chords that are really common in a lot of modern guitarists playing, as well as just super beautiful ways to kind of embellish melodies. And in today's video we're going to look at three main types of harmonization, and those are going to be thirds or tenths, sixths, as well as fourths. So these are some of the most common sounds that get pulled out. Let's jump in with thirds. The most kind of important note in a chord is going to be its third, because that's what determines the quality of the sound. So for example, if I wanted to express G, but I wanted it to be a little bit more lightweight, I could actually just grab the note G. So here I'm grabbing my 5th fret of my D string, and I'm grabbing the 4th fret of the G string, which is the note B, which is the major third. And if I just play those two notes, there's a G chord. So for example, if I had a chord progression that went G, A minor, B minor, C, so that's, but let's say I wanted it to be a little bit softer, more fragile and intimate kind of sounding. I could do that same thing by just playing the thirds of those chords here. So I could go, kind of flub that C. I'll do that one more time. And it's this beautiful kind of much more delicate sound. Now, thirds, again, you could use them pretty much anywhere on the guitar that you want. You could go, or you could go as low as, and it'll be a beautiful sound any way you do it. But there's this really common way that happens a lot now, especially if you're playing, you know, a Fender style guitar through a Fender style amp with a lot of reverb, like someone in this video might be. You would end up doing this kind of thing that's called tenths. And the interval of a tenth is the same interval as a major third, but it's an octave bigger. So for example, this G that I played earlier, where I played the 5th fret of my D string and the 4th fret of my G string, this is a third, but if I took this G and I dropped it down an octave and I kept the same B, I now have the interval of a tenth, and it's this beautiful sound instead. Same shape, or similar shape, but on a different string. If I did that same thing in the key of C, I would grab the 3rd fret of my A string and the 5th fret of my B string. That's the major shape, and then the minor shape I lower to a 1 fret lower on the B string. I could get this sound. Same thing on the next set of strings as well. And they're these super beautiful sounds that, again, there's just a little bit more intimacy and fragility in these sounds, where they can express kind of softer, beautiful little sounds. And again, I'm expressing full chords with just two notes, which is a super beautiful sound. Now, this next interval that I wanted to talk about was going to be sixths. And so a sixth, if you think about it, say for example, let's say I have a melody that goes, da, 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 da. Let's just say that's my melody. So my melody note is C, and I'm thinking that this is in the key of C. So if I went da 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 da. Now the trick here is going back my C major scale 6 notes. So if I started from this note C, which is my top note melody, if I went C, B, 2, A, 3, G, 4, F natural, not F sharp, would be 5, and then E would be a 6th. So here, I get this shape, E to C. The other shape that's worth knowing would be this one. So this is a major 6th shape, and then this is a minor sixth shape. So with this shape, if I put a sixth under it, it thickens the melody and adds some kind of harmonic context to it. So that could sound like this. Now, what did I do there? So for C, I used that. My melody goes up to D, so this went up to the next note of the scale, which means that my sixth that I'm putting beneath it will need to go up to the next note of the scale. This is giving me a major sixth of the notes F and D. When I go up, I get the same thing. And then when I come up here to the melody note G, my note that's a sixth below it is going to be B. For F, it's the same shape, and then I'm back here. So I took this and I turned it into, and I've thickened this melody, and I'm alluding to some harmony that happens beneath it. Now, another great way to use sixth, here I took a note that was a melody, and then I added the interval of a sixth beneath it. What if I was using these for chords, and I wanted to instead express, say, C major 6? Well, in that case, I would grab C, and then the note that's a sixth above it. So in my case, that's the note A. So if there was a super light C chord I wanted to grab, I could express that with just those two notes. So this works again the same way. If I was on my bass note C, I go up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives me that. So let's say our chord progression went C, D minor. Well, let's use the same one. So C, D minor, E minor, F. I would get that sound to express those chords. So rather than this heavy, big, I'll just use block chords. So I could have which is a beautiful light sound. Now I should be clear here that when you use sixths to express chords, it's a little bit more ambiguous than it is when you use thirds or tenths, but it's still a beautiful sound worth exploring. And now the last one that I want to talk about is using intervals of fourths. And this is a really, really common sound, especially in like rock and blues. Like for example, I'm going to play this in a different key maybe so that YouTube doesn't demonetize this video. But one of the most famous guitar examples I can think of is Slow Dancing in a Burning Room by John Mayer, which I'm going to play 2 frets lower than it is supposed to be played. So that would maybe sound like... Then we would get... Yeah, that was garbage. So in that, it starts with thirds, and then here, that's the interval of a fourth. So this kind of interval it's a really common sound to hear in a pentatonic kind of scale, just because it's almost like a melodic thickener. Fourths to me have this almost hollow quality to them, whereas thirds to me are like crystalline, clear, you know. If I were to harmonize that in fourths, so I'll actually take that exact same melody. So what did I do? I went do, do, do. If I took that same melody, so that was, what was that? In thirds, it has this super kind of harmonic, lush quality. Now, if I were to do that in fourths, I get a completely different sound. That would be like this. One of those was wrong. It should have been... So it's a little bit less expressive and a little bit more just kind of like painting with a broad stroke. But if you're ever curious about thickening a melody, that kind of minor pentatonic box we all know so well, has a lot of fun stuff to mess around with in there. But there's kind of a deep dive on using some different intervals to express chords using double stops and things like that. If you found this video useful, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It truly helps me out more than you could know. If you want to take a guitar lesson with me, there's a link to get in touch with me down in the description there. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. If you're looking for a way to support me and support this channel and the free educational content I post here, you can subscribe to my Patreon down below. All of my patrons get early access to videos as well as cool behind-the-scenes sneak peeks. It's stuff that I'm working on, so I'd love to see you over there. If you're looking for a different way to support the channel, you could purchase my ebook or my video course all about triads, which is also linked down in the description. It's some great educational content from me that's a lot more thorough and in-depth than I can go in, a 10-minute YouTube video. And last but not least, I've got new videos coming out every single week, so I hope I'll see you in the next one. And until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar. Thanks.